So here we go, my first video on burnout, and this one is on burnout and the Ennea 1. And I must say, just starting out, my one is peeking up and it's saying, my golly, the filters on social media make you so much prettier. So you'll just have to, bear my old and wrinkled self. And my one is very self-critical. So the one is everywhere. So the first thing you need to know is that with any Ennea, when we are identified or when we're being told and when we resonate with what we're being told, that when we're being told we are an Ennea 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, what usually happens that we first go, oh no. And I just want to let you know that this is normal. Okay, because what happens is that we can see deep down immediately that this is true. This is the game that we are playing. And the response is sort of a feeling of being caught, of maybe shame or frustration. So this is normal. It means you're well on your way of lifting your inner knowing into full-on consciousness and self-awareness. And this will enable you to change your burnout, to heal your burnout. So in this video, we will look at what is the driver of the one, how does this driver result in wonderful gifts that the one can bring, and how does the driver, when stressed, lead into a downward spiral where we overdo our gifts, and how does the driver, when it is in a healthy, safe space, when we feel good and healthy and safe and without fear or anxiety or without pressure, then we go into the upward spiral. With burnout, the problem is that we've been exposed to psychological stress for so long that we're sort of caught in the downward spiral, in the downside of our Ennea. And these moments of feeling good and safe and going into our upward, healthy inner growth become less and less frequent. So it takes more of a mental push, of a mental effort to actually move away from our stressed self, our downward spiral, into our upward spiral that enables us to deal with our stress differently and also leave it behind. So what drives a one? I'm going to look at the two deepest drivers. They are all connected, but these are the two that I think will make a lot of sense and make it much easier to understand yourselves and how things come together. So the first really important thing is that the one is a body type. This means in the Enneagram, they sit in the triad of action, of how we do things. The body type is a type that actually works from the gut. And in the gut, we have a clear wanting or knowing. Especially for the one, it is so clear, not just for the one, for the 8, the 9, and the 1. It is so clear what they want. They know exactly how things need to happen. And they're very confident about that. And it's a deep, deep gut knowing about actions. And it is often pointless to argue with the one because they come from a place of such conviction and clarity that arguments just don't land. For the one, it's clear. The other thing that this means that the one is a body type is that the one is actually run by anger along with 8 and 9. The one tries to suppress the anger because the one doesn't feel that or is sure that anger is just not appropriate or it cannot be trusted in any way, but it's always there. And this anger type, or all anger types, feel that others are stupid. So from the position of such clarity on action and what needs to happen next, one's tried to assist others in improving, in doing better. They help by being clear on guidelines, by being clear on standards, by having clear expectations, templates, processes in place so people can follow them in order to do less stupid things. The other really, really deep driver of the one is a kind of experience or memory of a beautiful ideal world in which love and joy are omnipresent. And it is this that they're trying to recreate. It's that one yearning, that longing for this ideal spiritual world, the spiritual idea that they're trying to bring into our world, into this world, and that drives them to continuously improve themselves and improve others in order to attain this beautiful world that has to be out there, if only we would all try a little harder. These two drivers together really explain why for the one it is so important to improve the world and to improve themselves continuously. It's a constant compulsion, and it also comes with this constant feeling of being right, of knowing, which is this gut connection. And the striving for perfection is driven by this underlying need for manifesting this beautiful world of love and joy, the spiritual yearning into this world, into this world that we have here. However, the funny thing is that the ones decide what is perfect, and it doesn't have to be related to every area in their lives. So they might be very particular in how to do to-do lists, or how to start a task, or which tasks are worthy. And in other areas, they might be just as sloppy as everybody else, but they're just very sure in some areas how the one wants things to be. And it is that stresses them and people around them. So what is really important to know and to remember here is that when the one learns to distinguish between this has to be this way and this is how I want it, this is my way, that they can start seeing that this is my wanting, this is my way, but there might be other ways of doing this. And I have such a long yearning, longing for it, such a compulsion for it, and I really rely on my gut for it. However, if I open up to other possibilities, to other people, if I assume that other people always also have something to contribute, I can listen to others and I can let go of my way being the only way, which is causing so much stress to themselves and others. So somewhere along the way, the ones got the message that if you are right, if you are sure, then you are on top of the situation. This helps to make a really uncontrollable world a bit more controllable and to cope and survive under all these circumstances. The other message that is really clear to the ones is that anything worth striving for, anything that is good and important, will always and only be achieved by very hard work. Only hard work deserves success. This means I always have to work hard, and when I do succeed, I'm almost not sure if I really deserved it, or if I maybe need to actually do a little bit more in order to deserve it. This actually also means that I'm very suspicious of others doing stuff with ease, because this means they haven't worked hard and they actually haven't deserved it. And I might even be a bit resentful towards them as a one. So there's a close connection between striving but never being allowed to reach perfection, never being allowed to deserve the best possible solution, the best possible results, and also needing to be punished and needing to punish others so they can learn and grow and strive, because striving and success always come at a price. So the one's thinking here is that I'm only worthy if I am making an effort, and only as long as I am making an effort. The moment I rest, I sit down, I'm in danger of actually not being worthy. So the one thought that is really tough for ones to embrace, and that is so important for them to embrace, is that we are worthy, that we are loved, and that we are worthy of success no matter what. The only voices to be trusted for the one are voices that are strong and that also talk about self-sacrifice and very high and difficult to achieve goals. Sloppy voices, relaxed voices, soft voices are not to be trusted. So there's also, again, a conscious effort for the one to be compassionate with themselves, to be compassionate with others, and to accept that others also have contributions to make, and to accept that they are worthy and good as they are, and that they do not need to continuously prove themselves worthy, prove themselves acceptable, and to continually contribute to a better world in order to just draw breath. One way to keep going in this direction is that the one completely suppresses feelings, especially feelings that the one judges bad. So feelings that they judge as negative, feelings of weakness, of exhaustion, of sloppiness, of anything that the one judges wrong, and that can differ widely between ones because each one has its own measures on how to decide that. And that prevents them from connecting with feelings. That prevents the one to connect to compassion and also to connect to the balance that feeling can bring. Because the one lives a lot in its gut, in the gut of knowing, doing, wanting, acting, and also a lot in its head of evaluating, thinking things through, deciding what is right and wrong, and what is important, what is not important, and deciding what I need to do and what I need to do next. So, in order to be a good person, the one suppresses feelings and anger, which is as a result mounting. Anger is often the lid on top of it, and there are lots of other feelings, including resentment, unhappiness, exhaustion, underneath this. So here again, it is important for the one to connect to the heart, to connect to feeling, and to allow these to pass through and know that there are no such things as wrong feelings. Feelings just are. Often they just need to pass through, and often they have also some information for us, like, I'm starting to be resentful. I should check why I'm so angry. Am I judging others? Am I feeling it's again not good enough? It's never good enough. It's never enough that I'm working. It's never enough that others are working. And also to have compassion with myself and check in with feelings before I break down in the end. So feelings bring a lot of relief to once they decide to embrace them. So once the one goes into that downward spiral, it can get stuck there. You can see that. So discerning judgment, wise advice, balanced reasoning, all becomes all of a sudden judgmental, dogmatic, and critical. People miss the good intentions behind it because it's presented with such arrogance, certainty, and there's an anal element to it, a rigidity to it. It's condemning, it's impatient, it's obsessive, and there's this element of punishing, that you need to be punished. I need to be punished in order to do this better, to learn this, that this is wrong. And I would like to really stress here that what the one, the stressed, trapped, burned out one, portrays on the outside, it does 100 times more to itself on the inside. So it's really that people around them, first of all, they get the feeling, just relax. Connect with your feelings. Connect with how you're actually feeling, and connect to what you're doing to yourself and to others. So when the one, anger, comes loose, it often comes loose sort of in a strong, lashed out overstatement, and it's then quickly tried to repress and control again. So the one thing that ones cannot believe is that you may get anything for nothing, or that there are things that come easily to others, or that doing something differently also works. They really feel you have to work damn hard in order to deserve anything. People, they have really difficult difficulty respecting people who do not work really very, very hard. They also have this tit-for-tat mentality, or ones can have this tit-for-tat mentality of saying, when you do this, you may get that. When you work hard, you may become a manager. When you park wrong, you have to pay. You will get a traffic fine, and you will have to pay for that. Things just are very transactional. And the other thing is that's really difficult for ones is when people don't take their tasks really seriously, and they don't take responsibility seriously. So the ones have this really strong responsibility, the deep sense of responsibility to do more, to get up earlier, to do better. And that becomes this downward spiral when they are really hard on themselves, hard on others. And also at the same time, they see how they're losing friends, how they're losing connection. And that also makes them very, very sad. Because the one says, I'm just doing what I have to do. And others can just go off and enjoy the weekend and go off and drop their responsibilities. I cannot do that. And I'm actually a bit envious. And what I would like to do, I dream of escapism. I dream of just going off to some wild beach far away and leave everything behind me. And that is sort of that dream, and that is the connection into 4. So when the one is really that low, it has this envy of others. It feels depressed, it feels helpless, it feels hopeless, it feels cut off from others. And it just wants to escape into a romantic, different, better world. The connection to 7 is how the one escapes that downward spiral and brings more lightness to its world and more fun. It's looking for spontaneity, for moments of fun, for a better perspective, for more possibility, for letting go that it's only my way or the highway, that there are different ways, that people are out there are good. This optimism of the 7, that things are good and life is fun. It's when that starts re-entering the one's life again. That's when they get it all back into balance, and all their gifts to inspire and improve and champion and all these things, they get into balance, and they lose that negative taste of severity and punishment and heaviness and hopelessness. So in summary, ones are very good teachers. They really always search for exactly the right words. They communicate the right ideas because they really look to say it correctly. They are good mentors. They're good at setting up processes, getting things flowing, giving things their right place. They're high moral achievers. Abe Lincoln, Martin Luther King are 2 ones that really set the standard here. They're very focused. They have an incredible ability to focus, and when they're stressed, being distracted is something that really is very difficult for them to bear. Ones fight for peace and justice in the world. They bring goodness into the world, goodness in the sense of kindness and wisdom and knowing what is important from the heart space. So here are the things that a 7 can do to move into, a 1 can do to move into that 7 energy. The Serenity Prayer. It is such a help for the one to distinguish between what is mine to change and improve, what is not mine to change and improve, and to ask for the wisdom to know the difference. That is the prayer. And it also takes a huge load off, because it's not my responsibility to improve and change everyone and everything, including myself, all the time. The next one is to look for moments of joy. to really look for them, and also spontaneously follow ideas that can bring me joy, and break out of the plan that is today. Break away from what you actually should be doing. But when you catch an idea, when you have this spontaneous idea of, I don't know, going up and kissing your husband, or sitting outside in the sun, or having another cup of tea, or going and visiting someone, allow it. You do not need to deserve this joy. With this thinking, you will never be allowed to get up and visit someone. But you may have it. You may have it because you deserve it already. Start looking at the bigger picture. That's also what the serenity prayer is about. Look at the bigger picture and really see if all these things and all these details that the one gets sucked into are really that important. Lighten up around that and be clear on priorities that are really also taking your heart, your feelings, and other people's feelings into account. Catch yourself when you're completely justifying and explaining everything to yourself and others, and simply let go, because you might have long stories for small things, and they lead you down into your spiral. They always and constantly check in with your anger, with your sense of just knowing what needs to happen. The only way to work with this is to let it go, and I mean that. Let it go to the universe. Say, I don't want this. I don't need this. I am ready and open to let it go, and instead to find peace and more kindness for myself. Try it. Just try it. When you catch yourself, decide to let it go. Embrace joy and contentment when you find it somewhere on your way. Okay? And then, as I said, put away the checklist, the shoulds, the oughts, the plans, and just be spontaneous about enjoying it and celebrating it. Don't always seek to accomplish. Just be. Be. It's that being just in myself and knowing I am right, I am okay, I am deserving and loved just as I am. Make a point of relaxing. It will not come to you easily, because you'll always know of 100,000 other things that you could do with this time. And remember, your innermost conviction and compulsion is that only when you do stuff, when you work, you are deserving. You just never get to this point of deserving relaxation. So you need to cut it short yourself. You need to make the decision. Learn to accept imperfections. Accept that your idea of perfection is yours. It is what you want. It is the way you want to do it. But it is not necessarily the way others do it. And the way that others do it might be another way of doing it, might not be the best way, but it's the way they do it, and they also try their best in their way. As a one, again, it is so important to accept that what you want in your gut, what you feel right to be in your gut, is not necessarily the only way to do this. Understand that what works for you and what feels right in the gut is not what is necessarily the only way to do it. So maybe replace I'm convinced that this is the only way with this is my way, and I am open to listening to other people and how they would like to do it. See their possibilities. Accept that they might not be stupid, but they're trying their best in their way, as you are trying your best in your way. So be aware of that wanting. Be aware of it and acknowledge it as your wanting, as your way. And it is not necessarily the law. It really also puts you and others in very small boxes that are very tight and very demanding. Most of all, be compassionate with yourself and with others. Go into your two, go into that kindness. Connect to your feelings, so your feelings can warn you when you're being too hard on yourself and maybe also too hard on others. Also, your heart can soften your wanting, can soften your thoughts, can open you up to other things, to other views, to other thoughts, to other and more feelings. And most of all, do not take yourself so seriously. Laugh more, laugh a lot. You are deserving just the way you are. that world that you are longing for, that good world, that is the world that you will only experience in the moments when you're present with yourself, when you're present with others, and when you are in your heart, when you're leading from your heart, when you're leading your life from your heart. That is when this ideal, beautiful spiritual world can enter ours in the moment.